Good morning to all. Myself Shasna, and today we are going to continue on the topic of decimals. Today we are going to learn about the division of decimals. Now firstly, let's start talking about the two types of decimal, which are recurring decimal and terminating decimals. So for understanding recurring decimals, let's first divide 10 by the 3. So if I will divide this, now you can easily say that 3 into 3 is 9. So we will do that, and then we will get our answer as 1. Now we have to put a decimal point at the quotient so that we can get our exact answer. So for that we will put the decimal point here, and because of that we will put it here. And we all know that after the decimal point there are infinite numbers of 0. So just take 1 0 down here. Right, again becomes 10. Let's like this, again 1. Okay, again 1 here. So do you know that it is just seems like it is not going to end, right? It is just continuing, and we are just getting 1, and then it becomes 10, and then we use this 3 into 3. So it is just never ending. That means this division could never end. Basically, this is an example of the recurring decimal. In this, as we can see, this decimal number, which is 3.3333333 and so on. So this is an example of a recurring decimal. A recurring decimal is a decimal number in which the decimal places never end. Like this. Now, how can you write a recurring decimal? For example, if we had taken this thing, which is 10 divided by 3 is equal to 3.3333. You have to write like this, a decimal number, a recurring decimal. No, we use a bar sign to indicate that this digit is repeating. So, for writing this decimal number, we will do like this, a bar over a 3, like this. So this is what the representation of a recurring decimal is. For example, let's take another decimal, a recurring decimal like 4.646, then 646, and then so on. So here, as you can see, that three digits are repeating. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to put the bar on these all 3 digits like this. So this bar shows that these 3 digits are repeating forever. Like this we can write any recurring decimal number. Now let's talk about the terminating decimals. So I think you know the meaning of the terminating. Terminate means to end, to stop, to end only. So the terminating decimal means the decimal number in which the decimal places end at a point. For example, 8.42. That's much. There is nothing else over there. There is just 0, 0, 0, 0. But we don't need to write that as they doesn't carry any meaning. So this is an example of a terminating decimal in which the decimal places end. like this. As you can see, there is nothing after this 2. So these was the two types of decimal numbers, the terminating decimal number and the recurring decimal number. Now let's move on to the division of decimal numbers. So firstly, there are two possibilities which could happen. What are they? We can divide a whole number to a decimal number, or we could divide two decimal numbers. So now let's see both of them. So let's take any decimal number, for example 4.82 divided by, let's take one whole number like let's say 2 or let's say 4. Now let's see how to divide this 4.82 2 by 4. So for this, let's write it. Now for dividing this, what you have to do, you have to just simply divide firstly the whole part. So let's divide that. 4 into 1, 4, very simple. Then when you reach the decimal point, as we had just completed the whole number part, so when you are just completed with the whole number part, then you have to put a decimal point in the quotient like this, and then normally divide this 8 and 2. So 4 into 2, 8. 4 into 2, 8. And then when the 2 comes down here, what you are going to do next? So next, as we all know that there are infinite number of zeros after the decimal point, so we don't need to worry. Just put the 0 here. Just put the 0 at the 2. But one second, wait a minute. Here I just bring the 2 down, and there is one important rule of division for all the numbers. If it is decimal number, if it is whole number, anything, there is one important rule of the division, that when you bring any number down, you have to do something to that number, which means that here we had just bring this 2 down. So we can't directly bring the 0 down. We have to put a 0 in the quotient. Why is that? That's because the rule says that we have to do something to this number. So we will do like this. 4 into 0, 0. So actually we do like this. And in the shortcut we just simply put a 0 there. We don't write this type of thing because it doesn't change the value. So you can also write like this. Now let's continue. So let's put a 0 here. So we all know 4 into 5 is 20. And here our division ends. So the right answer is 1.205. Here we had also seen very interesting thing, that this answer is basically a terminating decimal number. So now I hope that this is clear how to divide a decimal number by the whole number. Now let's see how to divide two decimal numbers. So for dividing two decimal numbers, let's say 5.82 divided by, let's say 2.556. Okay, so how can you divide this? So for this, as we all know that the first number which we are going to divide is known as dividend, and the number which divides is known as divisor. So what we have to do, firstly we can write it as a fraction. Why is that? That's because division is nothing but the fractions, right? It is just a fraction. So you can represent it as 5.82 divided by 2.56 like this. Very simple. We had done nothing. We had don't change the value, right? So like this. That's how you can write this. And then what you have to do, you have to get rid of the decimal point in the divisor. So that means how can you get rid of that? Very simple, just shift the decimal point at that side. But here one thing you have to keep in your mind is that you can't only shift the point simply in the denominator. You have to do same thing. You have to do that same thing to the numerator also. That is the rule of the fraction, because if we will do like that, so we can change the value of this question. We will be changing the value of this question, and because of that the answer will be wrong. So whatever thing we have to do here, we have to do at the top, and here we have to shift two places. We have to shift the decimal point 2 places to the left. Now, sorry, to the right. Now here, can you see this thing? Now as we had shifted this 2 places to the right, we have to do this same thing to the numerator. So now let's do this. 1, 2. So what does it become? It becomes 582 and then 256.000. Now we all know that here this decimal point doesn't carry any meaning. So just rub these off. And here our question becomes simpler. Just the division of whole numbers. So like this, you can divide a whole number to the decimal number and 2 decimal numbers. So now I think that this whole is clear to you, and at this point our decimal topic is ended. In our next video, we are going to learn about the data handling. So for now, thank you for watching this video and have a cheerful day ahead. If you want any improvement in me, so you can comment it in the comment box. Thank you.